Alright guys, we are back with another video. Today I am making my full predictions for UFC 327. Surprising news, Joshua Van pulled out his fight with Tensor Tara, so now they'll be fighting for UFC 328. I know the logo's still here, but they'll eventually take that out. I feel like that fight being pulled out kind of just flopped the card a little bit. It's still an insane card. You know, the Van and Tara fight was definitely the fight I was really looking forward into. It was crazy that I feel like a lot of times the fights that we'd be looking forward into, they don't even happen on that card, and it's just kind of a bump. But still, we still got to say massive card. But I just want to say before we get any further, we had six cancellations of fights. It's kind of wild for a card, even though these two fights right here, no, these two fights right here, I know I'm pretty sure not a lot of people really cared about. But now let's predict this entire card, shall we? First we got up in the welterweight division. We got Charles Racket versus Francisco Pedro. I don't know if I like this matchup for Pedro. Pedro, I haven't been really looking impressed. He hasn't been really looking impressive over his last few fights. Let's take a look at the last five fights. Yeah, first lost to Jamie Molarski. Jamie Molarski, I'm not saying he's the worst fighter ever. He has a good type of style, but then he went in and beat Ottoman Alzar. Man, that's an okay prospect. When he lost to Daniel Zallenberg, who at that point when he fought him, I feel like that was when Daniel Zallenberg was at his best. And then he lost to Jake Matthews, who's also a high prospect. Then lost to Nicola, the Pakistani dude, who's not that good of a fighter. Yeah, he just knocked out Nico Price about like 2 months ago, but still, he's not that good of a fighter. Now for Charlie Racket. He beat Gilbert Urbina. That's not bad of a win. Not bad of a win. The left hook was nice. They lost to Carlos Practice with that insanity to the body. Then Carlos Practice is trying to call out Bilal Muhammad. Then he beat Matthew Saubergi, who's okay fighter, and then lost to Mike Malott, who's one of the high prospects from Canada. Then beat Daniel Ferza. Charles Racket, he's a good fighter. I'm not saying he's for sure not one of the best fighters for sure. But for sure, Charles Racket has good style. He has good striking, has good submission skills, and I just don't like this matchup for Francisco Pedro. I think Francisco Pedro gets maybe knocked out or submitted in the first or second round here, guys. But that's what I'm going for. Even though I already predicted this fight, but these are for the people who didn't watch my video. If you watched my video, you should know who I got winning. This fight is a good fight. It's at 185. I know a lot of people are excited to see this fight just to see if Calvin Gastelum misses weight. If he misses weight and this fight pulls out, this card's definitely flopping, bro. But let's take a look at their last five fights. He beat Rafael dos Santos, who Rafael dos Santos was not at his prime at the time, but he was at his. If that was prime dos Santos, then that's a different story. Wedding got knocked out from Joaquin Buckley, who, in my opinion, is one of the most dangerous welterweights in the world, and may be one of the top five best welterweights in the world. But let's see how he does against Sean Brady. Then he beat Tabo Garnabo after he was supposed to fight Nick Diaz, but Nick Diaz pulled out. Then he lost to Kevin Holland and got choked out in the choke that he's used to doing. Then he got beat up for 3 rounds by Joel Alvarez, and we look at how Joel Alvarez looks. He looks way better at 170 than what he ever looked at 155. Now for Calvin Gaston. He had beat Chris Curtis. Who Chris Curtis, in my opinion, I like Chris Curtis. He hits hard. He's got good boxing, but his wrestling is not all that. Then he went in and lost to Sean Brady, who's one of the top 10 best welterweights in the world. Then he beat Daniel Rodriguez, who was a high prospect, and it seemed like he was about to get kicked out of the UFC. And then lost to Joe Pyfer, got beat up 3 rounds badly. Then went in and beat Dustin Scalvis. Even in that fight with Dustin Scalvis, he wasn't looking the best we've ever seen him. He's kind of slowing down. His punches, he can still hit you, but it's not like as hard as what it used to be. And mind you, look, these guys need to retire. They're only 35, bro. No, 34, my bad. 34, and they're already starting to need to retire. I don't like this, bro. I'm going to go with Calvin Gaslam here, guys. Vicente Luque, he could win this if he uses his jiu-jitsu really well. But I'm going to go with Calvin Gaslam. Next up we got is Cool Mandaros versus Chris Palita. I like this matchup. Chris is taking a short notice here because Cool was supposed to fight Nazim, but instead he's gonna fight Chris because Nazim had to pull out. This is a close fight, guys. I can't wait to see this. Let's take a look at their last 5 fights. You know, he lost to Justin Ginas. No, he beat Justin Ginas at UNF, whatever it's called. Then he got the contract in the UFC and beat James Lion Top. Lion Top was a pretty good fighter. I'm not really the huge fan of him, but he did fight, if I'm not mistaken, Mauricio Rufy. Then he beat Renzu, who's a high prospect as well. He's beating some prospects here. And then beat Jai Herbert in a split decision, which was a pretty good fight. I'm not the hugest fan of Jai Herbert, nor do I like Jai Herbert at all, but he's going to have solid wins. Then he beat Emel Bonfi. This dude's beating some of the best prospects you probably may know at 155, bro. And then as for Cool, he beat Isaacov at the Contender Series, got the contract. Then he beat Landon Colnice, who's not bad of a win. Then went in to beat Austin Herman with a close situation, was a competitive fight. Then dominates Mark Chonsky. In that first round where he fought Mark Chonsky was beating him. He was dominating him in that first round. Then that second and third round, that's when Cool came out strong. Striking was there. The grappling was there. I'm gonna go with Cool on this one, guys. With Padla, he's dominating. He's beating or dominating some of these high prospects, guys. I would not be surprised if he pulls off the win here, guys. He's a pretty smart fighter, and like I said, if he wins this, I wouldn't be surprised. I would love to see a win for sure. I would also love to see Cool with this fight, guys. So I don't care who loses, who wins this fight at all. But all I know is gonna be a good fight. Next up, another one of the fights I didn't predict: Tatiana Suarez versus Lupita Gudis. Gudis, she's a good fighter. She has good striking. I don't know if her wrestling has been fully tested just yet. I think in this fight with Tatiana Suarez, she will see how good her wrestling is. Let's take a look at their last 5 fights. She went in to beat Tabitha Ricci in a close decision win, which was a really good fight. Then went in and lost to Verna Janjaroma, who recently beat Tabitha Ricci 3 rounds to nothing last night. Then lost to Mackenzie Dern, who's currently the strawweight champion. Then she beat Julia Prasji in a solid victory. Then she beat Jessica Andre in a competitive fight, but it was kind of dominant. Now for Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana Suarez, she beat Nina Nunez. The one that beat Montana Dula Rosa. Went in and submitted Jessica Andrade. Then lost to the former strawweight champion Jake Wally in a close fight. In a close fight where I thought it was interesting. I thought she could have won. Then she beat Amanda Lemos dominant. Tatiana Suarez, she has some of the best wrestling in the UFC. Well, grappling, I should say. And I think she's going to be the one to beat Mackenzie Dern and probably submit her. She's already lost to Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern has wrestling. I think Tatiana Suarez dominates Lupi Goudis here, guys. It's a good fight. I can see Lupi Goudis winning this fight, but I think Tatiana Suarez just needs to land a lot of takedowns. She has like a similar style to Hamza Chimaev, which is just wrestling and got pretty good striking. But I'm going to go with Tatiana Suarez on this one, guys. Next up, we got him is Matias Gamma versus F. Stan Rigovics. This is a good fight, guys. I can't wait to see this one. There are ways for Matias Gamma to lose this fight, guys, but I don't see him losing this fight, guys. Like, I just don't. I don't see him losing this fight. We've already seen Rigovic's wrestling be tested before on like his debut in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. And I just think that this should be kind of obvious Gamrot's going to win this one. Gamrot, sometimes he does strike. But if you look at his loss right here, to Dan Hooker. Um, it was a good fight. It got awarded fight of the night, but I feel like what Gamrot should have done was probably go for more takedowns, not strike with him. Even though, yeah, he was surviving. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like if it's a close fight, that favors Rigovics a lot. But Diaz needs to make this like a Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway fight, like how that went. He needs to make it that fight. As a matter of fact, his recent loss was to Charles Oliveira. But we got to be honest, guys. He took that fight on like a 2 weeks notice, and he did better. We had to give him that respect. He did a pretty good job. But for his comeback fight against Rigovics, I mean, I'm glad they're putting Rigovics to use and finally giving him someone. But I think it is a little bit too early. I think we should wait at least a few more, maybe a few more years, maybe. But when you get the opportunities, it's like sometimes you do gotta take them because sometimes you may not get these opportunities until you get very older. But I'm going with Matias Gamrot on this one, guys. I don't really gotta look at the last few fights, but I'm going with Matias Gamrot by unanimous decision on this one, guys. Next up, two of my favorite fighters, Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. This fight is a absolute banger, guys. These guys are both coming off losses. I'll say their last few fights have been pretty okay. Let's take a look at them. He beat Muslim Salikov, who's a pretty old guy, and knocked him out brutally. Then went in and beat Alzil Zalski Dos Santos by unanimous decision, computer dominant. Then he lost to Brian Battles in a competitive fight. Brian Battles is not in the UFC no more, but when he was, I thought he was going to become world champion. But hey, we don't talk about that no more. Then he went in and had a really good fight, competitive fight with Nicholas Delby, who was also a pretty old guy. Then lost to Gabriel Bonfim, which I kind of thought maybe that was kind of an early stoppage, but I get it. He was looking the other way. He wasn't even looking straight at the referee at Bonfim, so I get why they stopped it. Now let's take a look at Kevin Holland's fight. If you look at this, bro, he was so active in 2025. Fought 5 times in 1 year. First, he got beat up and dominated for one round by Roddy Ritter. Then beat Gunnar Nelson, who's very inactive. Then beat Vicente Luque in a surprising victory, which I didn't think he was gonna win. Then lost to Daniel Rodriguez in a close fight where he could have possibly won. And then lost to Mike Malott, which I think Mike Malott did that on purpose, guys. Because think about it, how is Daniel Rodriguez the same height as um, Mike Malott, and Mike Malott managed need him below the belt, but Daniel Rodriguez had no problem doing that, bro. No problem, bro. I just think Mike Malott cheated, bro. Because if you guys remember the post fight interview, he kind of said kneeing him below the belt did work very well. Like he was saying, like he admitted that he did that on purpose, guys. If you guys didn't watch the post fight interview, you guys need to go ahead and watch that because it sounds like he did that on purpose. And then when they interviewed him backstage, he kind of made it seem like he did it. But when he was interviewed by DC, he made it seem like, oh, that was my game plan the entire time. I knew that was gonna slow him down so I could win the fight. And mind you, before Kevin Holland got kneed below the belt, he was tagging Mike Malott. Then all of a sudden, once he gets hit below the belt, he kind of just freaking wears down. But even then, Kevin Holland was breaking him a little bit, even with him being hit below the belt. So I think if he didn't get hit below the belt, he probably would have beat Mike Malott. And it was crazy that Mike Malott left the octagon with marks. Kevin Holland didn't even have barely any marks on him. Maybe there was one that I could possibly couldn't see, but he was barely marked in that fight. But I'm going with Kevin Holland on here, guys. If he loses this fight, he's gonna be on a 3-fight losing streak, and that could be bad for him. But if Randy Brown does lose this fight too, it's gonna be a 2-fight losing streak. I think Randy Brown could come back for that. But I'm going with Kevin Holland on this one, guys. And now we got the featured prelim. Patricio Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. I figured this fight was going to happen, guys. And I'm not lying when I say this. Because I'm thinking who should Patricio Pitbull fight next? I think the best option should be Aaron Pico. They got to give him that same respect they did against Patricio Pitbull. Because mind you, after Patricio Pitbull got dominated 3 rounds by Yair Rodriguez, he got another ranked opponent, which was Dan Ige, and he won that fight in a pretty good fight. So I expected the same thing for Aaron Pico, and what you know, I was right. I think Patricio Pitbull is getting old. Look, he's old. He's probably, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the oldest person on this card. No, Cub Swartz is the oldest person on this card. Second oldest person on this card. He got in the UFC pretty late, to be honest. And I don't think he's winning this fight, guys. I think he gets knocked out by Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico, he's 29. He still has a chance to come back, and I just don't see Patricio Pitbull winning this fight, guys. I mean, if he submits him on the ground, then probably the only way. But other than that, I don't see Patricio Pitbull beating Aaron Pico. Nor do I see him becoming the world champion, especially the weight class now. I can see Aaron Pico because Aaron Pico still got a long career, and it's also just different styles. But I'm going with Aaron Pico on this one, guys. Now, next up, we got out of his Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. For Cub Swanson's retirement fight, I'm all in for it, guys. It got upgraded to the main card. Um, like I said, I was upset that Tatsuro Taro Joshua Bay got pulled out. Hey, but this is a good fight, guys. This is gonna be a war. They're both pretty old. Him being 40, Cub Swanson being 47. Um, no, not 47, 30, 42, and Nate Landwehr being 37. This is a good fight. I think what Nate Landwehr has a problem is that he's a trade. They call him the trade. He pushes the pace until he gets knocked out, and I think that's where the problem is. I'm glad he's fighting someone like Cub Swanson because Cub Swanson's a brawler as well. But if this fight turns into a brawl that may favor Nate Landwehr, but I think if it goes to the third round, that's where Cub Swanson may get the job done. Like I said, this Cub Swanson retirement fight. I've been a big fan of him. I think he's one of the top five greatest featherweights of all time. You know, I feel like he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I am going with Cub Swanson here, guys. But Nate Landwehr, I think in the first two rounds, he's probably going to have to knock him out. If it goes head into the third, I think he'll get knocked. I think he'll either get knocked out or probably just beat. But let's see how. But let's see how this fight goes. Who knows? Nate Landwehr can prove me wrong and pull off something different because it's happened before. And now we move up to the light heavyweight division. Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. Like these are one of the two worst chins in the UFC ever, bro. Um, his only decision win is over John Jones. Ever since then, he's been getting knocked out brutally, bro. But let's take a look at the last five fights. Johnny Walker, he had beat Anthony Smith, who was a legend of the sport. Um, that's not that bad. Then he went in at a no contest over Magomed Ankalaev. Rematched him again. Got knocked out in the second round in one of the most goofiest ways ever. Then went in and lost to Volkan Ozdemir. Ooh, he was looking pretty sharp. He was moving around, but then he just got clipped with that uppercut. And then beat Zhang Big Young, not Big Young Zhang, whoever put that on Tapology. This is a good fight. And then let's take a look at his fights too. He got knocked out by Ryan Spann, which was a shocker. Then he beat Dustin Jacoby. Went in and beat Anthony Smith. Went in and beat Nikita Krivlov. They got knocked out by Carl Ubler, who's getting the title shot. This is a 50-50 fight, guys. I'm interested to see this because One Punch and one of these guys are going onto the ground, bro. This is a great fight. Now, this may be the fight on the main card that I'm curious the most because One Punch, you obviously know these guys are going down. But I'm going with Dominic Reyes, guys. I can see Johnny Walker winning this, guys. But I think Dominic Reyes knocks him out in the second round here, guys. We'll want a clean shot, maybe a 1-2 hook, and then kick to the head, and then the fight's over. And then Johnny Walker goes down like that, like a cartoon. But that's what I'm going for. Now let's move on. Next up, we got off the fight that I didn't even think was gonna happen. Curtis Blades versus Josh Hogan. This is very interesting, guys. We got Josh Hogan, who made his debut against Max Gimis and won by knockout. Then went in to beat Denzel Freeman, who's not a good fighter at all. I don't like Denzel Freeman whatsoever. He's not a good fighter at all. And Josh Hogan proved that. But then Curtis Blades, he had beaten Tom Aspinall in a knee injury, which was wild. I think it lasted like 15 seconds. Lost to Sergey Pavlovich. They beat Joel Almeida, which I was glad because I don't like Joel Almeida at all. He's so boring, bro. I'm kind of glad he got kicked out of the UFC because I eventually knew he was going to get kicked out. He's just so boring. They got knocked out by Tom Aspinall in the rematch. Then went him at an okay fight against Khabib. I feel like throughout Curtis Blades' career, I think he started to flop a little bit, and I think Josh Hogan is gonna take this win here by a TKO, guys. Curtis Blades, he's one of the most veterans of the heavyweight division as of right now, but I just don't see a win in this fight, guys. It's tough to say, bro. Josh Hogan has such good cardio, bro, and I just don't see Curtis Blades getting this job done, bro. So I'm gonna go with Josh Hogan by knockout here, guys. But I'm gonna be rooting for my boy Curtis Blades, bro, because Curtis Blades is one of my favorite heavyweight fighters. As of right now, bro, I thought Curtis Blades was gonna get the fight with Waldo Cortes Acosta, but apparently not, because now Waldo's gonna fight Alexander Volkov. But now let's move on to the. Okay, now this is a fight where I didn't expect to be the co-main event. Azamat Murzakanov versus Paulo Costa. I think maybe the winner of this fight may get the title shot next, and I think if Azamat wins this fight, he for sure deserves the title shot, bro. He is one of the most dangerous light heavyweights of all time, in my opinion. Dude knocked out Racket with a singular power jab that looked like that barely hit him, bro. You can't tell me that's a dangerous light heavyweight. And I don't know how Paul Costa's gonna do, bro. Cause let's take a look at his fights. He had lost to Marvin Vettori, who, in my opinion, I don't like Marvin Vettori at all. Never once did. Then beat Luke Rockhold in a good fight. AK was Luke Rockhold's retirement fight. Then lost to Robert Whitaker in a close fight. Then had a boring fight. When I mean boring, I mean boring fight with Sean Strickland. Then had a pretty decent fight with Roman. Which was a pretty good fight. Now let's go over Osman. He went in, knocked out Devin Clark, then won by an decision over Dustin Jacoby. Then knocked out Alzo Manfield. Then knocked out Bretson Riboro. Then knocked out Racket, bro. He's knocking people out left and right here. And I think Paul Costa may get knocked out in the first or second round here, guys. Yes, I can see Paul Costa getting knocked out sooner than ever, bro. Uh, Azamat Murzakanov is really that good of a fighter, and I don't see Costa winning this fight, guys. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Now let's move on to the main. Now we got the main event: Jiri Prohaska versus Carlos Ubler for the vacated light heavyweight title. This is a 50-50 fight. I will say a few things. Like, if we look at this fight right here over John Blahovic, it was a close fight. The only close round that wasn't close was probably that round where he fought, where it was in the second round. The first and third round were close, and those are the rounds that people thought John Blahovic won. I think what I realized from that fight, particularly, that if Carlos Ubler needs to dominate you in order to win rounds, because if they're close rounds, that may favor the other person. But then he did go ahead and knock out Dominic Reyes with that jab and cross that was very insane. But let's take a look at Jury's last few fights. He got knocked out by Alex Pereira about 2 years ago. Then knocked out Racket with that ground and pound. Got a rematch with Alex Pereira. Got knocked out again. Then went in and beat Jamal Hill in a close fight, and I thought which was a good fight. Then he managed to finish him with that punch, and then lost and beat Khalil Rountree Jr. I will say what I learned from that fight as well. Khalil was beating the frick out of him for 2 rounds straight. Then once he got tired, that's when Jury started winning, bro. I'm telling you this right now. If Khalil didn't get tired, bro, he would have beat Jury, bro. I don't know if this is going the distance. I think this may go the distance, but no one has seemed to go the distance with Jury in the UFC, bro. Only 2 people that were close to were Glover Torreira and Khalil Rountree Jr., but they both ended up failing. I'm gonna go with my boy Jury, bro. I can't go against my boy, bro. But Carlos Ulrich, he needs to make this a long range fight and dominate him, bro. He can't just fight a close fight. He's gotta dominate. He's gotta dominate. Well, I mean dominate with long range kickboxing. Even though Jerry has the longer reach, but the Rage kickboxing, get out the way, hit his body, and I feel like that will be the way for him to win. But I'm gonna go with Jerry Prohaska. That will be the video, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe button, turn on notification when you guys want to see what I upload. Comment down below for every fight on this card and who you got winning this fight. And I'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace. And I will be predicting every UFC cards for the weekends they have it. I didn't predict last week's because it wasn't really that good of a card, to be honest, for me to really be making a fight like that, at least for me. So I'll predict every other card. But now, that'll be the end of the video. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.